Welcome to our Celebrate Fall series. This is the Give Thanks version of it. The little plaques are removable and you can put on a different version for each of the 3 months of fall. And so this particular project includes your the instructions for the wreath, the leaf wreath, and the banner. Okay, the leaves, which is the coolest thing ever, we did all with just a pile of stencils, and they're the same 5 stencils or 4 stencils, maybe 5, and that leaf just fits on there. And then I went ahead and had 2 sets done so that I could reverse them so they'd be slightly different looking. And so you just lay it on there, you jumbo dauber on your color, and then you use these super affordable dome brushes and you just scumble your colors. And the back layer, the first layer, there's actually just 2 layers. These are the top 6 or so leaves, and all the rest are done on just 1 layer. And that layer only took me about an hour, which was really cool. That was base coating, tracing it, which I didn't have to trace it because I just used the cutout and the outline, and that was all the details. So and then I had to come back and do my top stuff and some shading and stuff, but that also went very quickly. It's amazing what you can do with a leaf with a stencil involved. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this series because I think this is just the coolest idea. I want to take it into the other seasons, and we've got some ideas for that. So this way you have 1 wreath you can hang outside of your house, but you can change just the little plaque, which also paints up very quickly. And then you can celebrate all the months of the year with just a few base pieces. We want to start our project by marking the top of the piece. Okay, so I'm going to find my top, and then I am going to just make a lovely line with my white on there so that I know how my design lays out. And then we're going to seal it. So we're going to take multi-purpose sealer, get my stuff together here. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll on the base coat and roll on the sealer with a little 2-inch foam roller. And when I get to these cut edges, I don't want everything leaking down, so I'm going to roll towards it with a fairly dry brush. If you're concerned or you're going to put your piece in a lot of weather, then you want to go ahead and spray your edges if you're concerned about it absorbing moisture. This is a very hard surface though. So if you're hanging it outside but not in the weather, you should be fine. Okay, and then I'll do that going the outer way like this as well. And then smooth it, allow it to dry. To make the repetitive process of painting the leaves easier, we're going to use stencils. And I've got 2 sets of my stencils. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I prep the opposite sides. And the reason I want to do that is because some are flipped one way and some are flipped the other. So I always want to make sure that I've got them laid out so that I know that I've got 2, these are very similar, 2 sizes. Maybe these aren't very similar at all. Okay, I'd say that those are like that. And so then this one goes that way. Oops, hello. Just make sure that we're not, yep, that's the same, and that is not the same. Okay, now we'll lay a set of stencils on our wax paper, and we're going to use a jumbo dauber and some tack it over and over. So that's the tack it. It's repositionable stencil adhesive, and that's a new jar. Let's see if I have one that's open. Nope. How many new jars do I need? There we go. So we'll put some out on our palette, and then we don't use very much. You don't want them sticky. And so what you're going to do is just go around the edge of the cutout, and you want it nice and flat. As far as like the medium, you don't want to have lumpy bumpy stuff. And then I put them off to the side and do my next one, and watch where you've got your adhesive or you'll have it sticky on both sides. You could have it sticky on both sides, but as soon as you paint on one side or the other, you're going to make it not sticky by putting paint on top of it. So it won't do any good to have it be sticky. If the first time you get paint on it, it makes it not sticky. But you can also do it by just taping it down. So you don't actually need to do this step, but I find it makes it faster and easier as I'm going along. All right, when you get done, go ahead and give yourself a little sanding just to take down any texture. Okay, and in the background, we're going to use traditional burnt umber. And we're going to roll on one base coat. Just using my dirty roller from my sealer. Just roll one nice even coat on, smooth out any little ridges you get, and allow it to dry. All right, we're going to re-wet our wreath with the traditional burnt umber. And I'm going to work in sections because I think that this will be a little bit easier to do in sections because I have to keep it wet. Okay, so we'll just work in little quarters. I'm going to use this new Sable Short Bright brush, and I'll get into a little bit of my traditional burnt umber and then pick up the deep burgundy and go find my glasses. And we're just going to leave some kind of choppy, almost brush strokey. I'm leaning my brush down. Stuff back there. And I'm wondering if I'm liking that red. I think I'm going to switch to russet. Or maybe a russet mix. And you want to keep that kind of up the middle. And a slip slap is where you X and you go one direction, then the other direction, then the other direction. And you can do a sloppy slip slap or whatever you want. Okay, so I think that's good. And now I'll work my way around. And as I'm thinking about this, this brush, when you want to get that kind of chunky, stay where you put it kind of brush, if you've got the longer flat brushes, they're not going to work. They're meant to kind of blend the paint around. Okay, these little short ones, they're meant to put the paint like where you want it. And there's a big trend. I've got about 7 new brushes sitting on my table. They finally have started making these things available, and I am overjoyed and digging it. Okay, so not too red there. So if you want to have a loose choppy style, then you're going to need to get a brush that will provide a loose choppy look. And if you start getting too much paint glommed on there, just wipe it off. Okay. I've got glare happening here, so I'm having to kind of really lean backwards and see where I'm at. Okay, so that's just going to break up our background where the leaves aren't all scattered, and we don't have to have every leaf have like 5 layers of leaves going on here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to position the stencils. Ooh, that was my wet one. Okay. We're going to position our stencils, and we're going to use a jumbo dauber, and we're going to just go ahead and get them base coated. And by doing this, we've got a good mask, but because I'm doing these one leaf at a time, I won't be able to, okay, we'll talk this thing through and then I'll keep painting. Okay, so because I'm doing one leaf at a time, I won't be able to like leave this on there, let it dry and wait and then come back to it and use it as a mask, which you'll get when I show you what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a coat of russet on this leaf, and then I'll peel that up, and that's going to be like fine. I'm going to know where that's at. And then I'm going to move on. I'm using the diagram, my printout, which I haven't got mine printed out, it's on my computer screen. My diagram of where the leaves go, and I'll just position the bottom row of leaves where they go, and then I will come back to them and replace that stencil on there to use it as my screen. Alright, so we're going to take a sequence and we're going to dry rub. So we're using a dome brush We're going to use milk chocolate. And on the yellow side of your leaves, so you'll look at the color pictures, you're going to dry rub with milk chocolate. Walk it around on those outer tips. We'll kiss a little bit on this side too. Make that whole end be a thing. And then we're going to go into Dirty Brush into Honey Brown. And then we'll lighten the tip. Okay, we won't lighten everything as much as everything else. Okay, so this might be as bright, and we'll take a peek. Looks cool, huh? Okay, get it stuck back down there real good. And now we'll go into a little bit of marigold. And then we do less of that and only where we want it the brightest. Maybe a kiss of it over here. Okay, take a little peek. I think that looks really good. All right. And we're going to get a little orange in there. We're going to do burnt orange, canyon orange, and I haven't got those colors out yet. Oh, here's burnt orange. Okay, and so we'll get some orange going through. A little more drying time here. You can kind of sneak into the other areas. The neat thing about this technique is you can definitely just kind of blend things in and out. Get our canyon orange. Dirty brush. Maybe we don't want that as bright everywhere. Take a peek, looking like a little fall leaf. And maybe we want to give a little bit of a scumble of orange into our yellows. And our final color is marigold. Okay, I think I'm going to call that one done. So let me explain a little bit about what I did here. Okay, so what I did is I used my map and the edges of my stencils, and I lined up all of these leaves. I did all of the oak leaves and the maple leaves, and I didn't do any of the filler leaves, the little leaves yet, because I think I'm going to make those another color, but I'm not sure what yet. So I'm going to do the bottom ones first, anything that is going to be on the very bottom. So I'll go next into this one, and I'll just do that same technique with all of these main leaves. Okay? Okay, as I'm doing it, just to give you kind of a little peek, you can see that I'm just choosing like the top on this one is yellow and the bottom on this one's orange, and then I want yellows over my oranges so that you can see them. And then this is yellow out here, and then this is yellow and orange, and then this is orange. So this one down here, I'm going to do this as some yellow out here and maybe some orange down on the base. That way they're not just exactly the same going all the way around. You want to have that variation, and you definitely want to be able to see things. Okay, where these leaves overlap each other, and what I've done is I've decided I want him on the top of this one. So what I did is I went ahead and went right over the top, and then I'll lay this back on top. Get it right on there. And then I will erase that color with the top color that I've got down here. So I'll just kind of skim color over it and then lift that off, and now he's back on top again. So easy, easy, easy. Alright, so we've got our top leaves, oops, still damp, positioned and based with a mix of antique gold and honey brown. Now we're taking a curved flat brush because it's perfect for getting into little nooks and crannies. We're going to float. And what we're going to do is we're going to create some lift for these underneath leaves. So what I'm going to do is just go in some places and shade that background color. And what that's going to do for us is it's going to give, so like I've got it done over here and it's dry, it gives it just a little bit like that leaf is lifting up off the background so that they're piled and jumbled a little bit. Okay, so we're going to do that on lots of areas, but not every single area. So I might come here on this leaf and just do it here and here, and then I might just do it on one side of another leaf. Okay, so just not everywhere. Okay, to take the leaves and lift the top ones up, we're going to use soft black, our curved flat brush, and we're going to go find areas that need to be lifted. Oops. A little bit more paint, not so much water. And we're going to use our brush to tuck in and swing around. And then we clean up with that back edge, that rounded edge of the brush. I'm going to go right over that little tail of that leaf. Okay, and so we should be getting some lift and some separation there. Okay, that's going to help us be able to see those leaves first. And then we'll move along and continue. You don't have to do them everywhere, but you want to do them where it matters. We don't want them to look outlined. Okay, and so like see here, we can't see, we can't tell what's going on. Okay, we might want to switch to, let's do this. Let's do russet on the really yellow leaves, like for example, the sky is on top of a yellow leaf. So instead of trying to do soft black there, let's use some russet. And that will give us that tone on that leaf, and then we'll use the soft black on the darker leaves. Okay, where we want to show more lift, like for example right here, I've gone back and made, let's go here, and we can't have everything lifting off or it just won't look right, but you can go back and give yourself just a much darker, much stronger, much wider shade, and that will bring it off of the top. Okay, so for example, if I want this puppy right here to look like he's lifted, I'm going to go here and bring that down, but I wouldn't have it lifted all the way along. Okay, so see how that, just move that up a little bit, and then maybe I can come over here and have a little bit of this lifted as well, and maybe just this one piece right here. Okay, so now I've got a couple pieces that are different and lifted in different ways. Okay, and you just kind of want to squint and eyeball it. There's not like a right and a wrong. I'm sure actually there is a right and a wrong, but I'm not following those rules right now. Okay, so I'll come down here, give a couple of these strong colors. Okay, and then just keep moving along. Okay, now we're going to add some veins, and we're going to do some dark and some light, and I'm going to try and figure out what that means. I've had my Raphael brush soaking. I add some water to my paint to make it inky. Okay, and what we do know about veins is we want to pull towards us because your line will get thinner as you pull towards yourself. And you want to do a shape following kind of line. Okay. And I am really off the mark there. Okay, so, and then you've got to turn your piece so that it's comfortable for you. Okay, so that gives us just a little bit of detail. And so we're going to do that on the ones that make sense, like the lighter colored ones. Okay. And that just gives us that little bit more detail. And now we're getting into this a little bit darker. So now I'm going to switch to my honey brown. And switch my hand direction here. Okay, and so some that are light and some that are dark. Okay, I don't think that made sense. Okay, gotta think a little bit like a leaf here. Don't make them too straight. And who else do we got? I've got all this stuff laying around, so it'll be a little bit more difficult to imagine where to put the veins, but just kind of pretend. Okay, and I have to make, let's see, let's do an evergreen vein on these, the green leaves. So it's just a little bit of that. Okay. Right, and then I want to shade with Evergreen on the green side of the kind of glaze that down with some Evergreen. This guy down. So just on all the tips that are the green color. Get that green just a little bit more vibrant. Time to switch palettes. I'm kind of a mess here. Go over here. This guy's just gotten taken over with the brown color. Glaze a few of the tips of some of the other leaves. Let's see, I'm looking for candidates. Okay, so down here, don't want this to become a green leaf pile. However, some kisses of color would not be amiss. And you lean back, squint, try to see who needs what. This little guy right here, he doesn't have any love. Now we can bring a couple of our back leaves forward as well, and the way we're going to do that is with something else. Okay, I'm going to shade to separate with russet on the other leaves that are behind. And we could take just a little bit of russet on some of these leaves. Okay, so this guy is here, and we could just kind of glaze that down just a little bit. Give him a little russet wash. And you could do that with some of the areas that the leaves are deeper in. So for example, this dude right here, he's under that guy, and he's of the right color to just kind of go ahead and wash him with russet, which will make him an orangier color, but it will also make him a darker color, which will give us a better layering effect. So we start looking for victims to, like this guy right here is perfect. Okay, and so we'll just wash. And so the neat thing about having these undertones already established is the green areas will wash one color and the red areas will wash another, and you will have the same kind of like pretty what's going on leaf happening there. Okay, this guy right here could be done. I think I'm just going to switch to a wash instead of a float for him. He's almost a russet color already. Okay, this guy right here is underneath a lot of things. So we can make him get a little darker. and then wash him. Looking for this guy right here. So our green will be washed with a little bit of the russet, and that makes it just like a old aged green. Probably this dude up here. I'm liking some of the depth that we're getting. Okay, this guy right here. And this guy over here. It's almost like all the edge leaves are getting it. Lots of edging. He might have already been glazed. And I think this guy is strange to me, so I'm going to wash him just to make him join in the group a little bit. Oops. So he's already russet over there, so let's make him a little bit of russet on his green. I could dig it. And I think we'll do the same thing to this guy. Don't mind the green, I just don't like that it doesn't quite join. Alright, so I've got a couple of leaves masked, and we're going to use a sequence of paints. Olive green, no, light, blah, 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 olive green, Hauser light green, and evergreen. And then this is persimmon, where are we? Georgia clay and russet, and then bright yellow and milk chocolate. We're going to use those in sequences, and we're going to do the dry rub, so you'll need to prepare some paper towel. Okay, so where we want the yellow to be, I'm going to get into our yellow paint, and then just rub. I think I'm going to need to shake this yellow paint. A little bit better. Yellow is a really difficult color. The pigment is, I believe, really expensive. Okay, so we'll draw the yellow in. And then we'll choose some places on the other leaves to have some yellow happening. Back over there. Okay, now I'll switch my brush and I'll go into persimmon and start building a little bit of, wow, orange on our leaf. Let's see if we can get that. more drying off. Okay, then we'll go into our green. I think I'll use a little bit smaller brush for my green. And I didn't really leave a spot for that one. Okay, a little bit more. Work it up the leaf. We got this back end. Okay, now we'll start going backwards into our colors. We'll build up a little bit of a middle with our orange. Get that like it's just emanating from the middle of the leaf. And now we'll go into the Georgia clay. And then we'll deepen that. And then into the russet. And that takes a little bit of that screaming orange away. Now we'll go into our yellow, and I'm not liking the idea of using milk chocolate second. Let's go to marigold. Back that into our orange area just a little bit. I think we need some green on the edge of the sky. We'll go into the Hauser medium. Back that into the orange. Okay, then we'll get into a little bit of the evergreen. And then that's all the way over there in that orangey brown area. Okay, then we're into, our yellows are still not defined. Then we'll go back into the bright yellow. And we may just have to like let that sit on there and just wipe it instead of rubbing. Okay, and I don't think we've got very developed oranges over here. backwards into yellow. And into the bright. Okay, I think I can dig it. And same thing up here. And then of course your other leaves will all be treated the same way. I figured dancing around on these leaves needed to be seen all at one time. Get a little bit more orange coming up. Okay, let's see how busy these look with our other things. Oh, I think that's pretty good. Felt like I was painting blind for a second there. So what I like about this is we basically use the same colors, but this is a more muted palette. And then these guys who are our stars and they're way on top look like they're on top. Okay, so that's the look we're going for. And then you'll just repeat that process on your other 4 leaves. Alright, I'm going to glaze the little accent leaves down with milk chocolate. Thinned milk chocolate, just a wash or a glaze, whichever way you want to call it. They're the same thing. And that's just going to knock those puppies back just a little bit. So see how that's competing with these guys? Now watch. As we just knock him back just a little bit, he takes a little bit more subdued tone. Okay, I'm going to go ahead on my yellow tips. I'm going to knock them back with a little bit of the wash as well. It's just a little too yellow for me. Okay, and I don't want everybody screaming. So I'll just knock them back. Should take care of any screaming going on. Okay, yeah, let's sink them down just a little bit. Okay, and I think I want to drag a little bit of orange around. I'm going to get a wash of Georgia clay. And I think what we want to do is on some of these leaves that could be leaning or reading orange, I'm going to go ahead and just lean them a little bit orange. Okay, so we got that. Get you on this screen. Yeah, our orange is a little bit kind of washy or yucky, kind of. So I'll go over here. Milky almost. So we'll make that just be a little bit more vibrant. I'm going to load a oval rake or the White Wonder rake with thinned russet. I'm going to use a heavy handle brush and apply spatters to the top leaves. Always tap off so that you have excess on your palette and not on your brush or on your project. Okay, and maybe we could go with a little bit of soft black. And our background ones. A little bit of depth. Okay. And maybe a couple of, let's see if we can get the yellow to show. And this is going to want to be very specific. So what we do is we anchor and we give it a big clump. Okay. And you got to go in the direction you want them to fall. And you need a little bit more water than I have. So I want them to pop out onto here, so I'm going to back up. And I think by adding just that little bit of sparkle, kind of makes like it jazzy. Like it electrifies it a little bit. Spattering always just makes a project just sing. Putting it on the green as well. And I think that is that for this part. And we're going to be dry brushing, not dry rubbing now. And so what we're going to do is take Patty's favorite dry brush, which is a kind of a, it's an oval glaze that so an oval glaze is shaved from side to side and it's a filbert shape, okay? And that means that the bristles on the tips are going to be slightly longer and than the rest of the brush. So that means it's going to give you a like nice scratchy look. So I'm going to load from the edge of my paint and I'm going to just kind of pound it into my brush. I'm not trying to like pick up paint with the brush. I'm trying to kind of mush it into this top part. And I'm really pushing very hard, and you can see I'm not leaving a big puddle right here. Okay, and I'll know I'm right when I get a big juicy top load right there. And then I'm always going to flick on my paper towel so that I don't end up with a very blunt stop and start mark. So I have my pattern traced of base coated black. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to start over on the side. And what we want to do is we want to give shape following strokes. Okay, and I'll reload as I need to, and you don't wash your brush in between loads. Flick on the paper towel. And you want to leave a gap in between the sections. move things over here. And then we just repeat on all the sections with the same, this is milk chocolate. I'm going to go right through his head. And so the idea is that we get this lovely texture. I think we'll go back and we'll repeat with the same color. Brighten it up just a little bit. And one of the things, I'm actually struggling with this right now a little bit because I didn't roll on my paint. And because I didn't roll on my paint, I don't have very much tooth. And so it's just kind of skimming on the piece instead of catching on the little bits of tooth that rolling gives. Make sure that you roll on your black paint, or we're going to switch to a different brush that should do what I need it to do and give me the look I want. Okay, we'll let that dry. Okay, we're going to try this crescent dry brush. Pick up our paint, much the same that we did flick, and let's see, yeah, look at that, nice, 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 nice. That's what I thought I'd get. This is very stiff brush. This looks a lot like the crescent brushes, but it is nowhere near as full, but boy does it do a great job of making a dry brush look. Okay. Now, dirty brush, I'll wipe that out and I'll go into my marigold. And we're just going to shoot that on the tips. So we're getting a little fade action. Okay, now we've got a bright yellow turkey tail. Alright, we'll take our curved flat and we'll shade next to each division. This will do a couple of things. It'll tone down the yellow just a little bit, kind of make it a more of a brown look, and it'll tone down the rest of the black that's showing. So we'll do all one side and then we'll flip it over and we'll do all the other side. And that was with Asphaltum, in case I didn't say that. Okay, we're going to take a round, this is a Pro Round number 6, and Toffee. And we're just going to make a slightly shorter line from side to side, all the way across. That blob right there, which I don't like. Then we go into bleach sand and we highlight within. Okay. Alright, we're going to dry brush his head with Admiral Blue plus Asphaltum. I think I'm not liking that at all. So let's sneak a little teeny bit of Asphaltum in that blue instead of an equal amount. Let's see what we get now. Getting a lovely glare is what I'm getting. Okay, so when we get a glare, we bring out this buddy. So what this is going to do for me is it's going to prop up my art. I can lock it in place, and now I won't have a glare. And it holds it because it's on this bar mat. So I'll just go ahead and dry brush way down to his neck. Okay, we're going to take his body. I'm just going to dry brush little scales. We'll repeat with grape juice. Get all the way over there to the edge. And dry brush in his face. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on his little arms here. Almost a base coat there. And then let's dry that off, and then let's go ahead and give a little bit of purple streaking up top. have a little purple Goonie bird here, it looks like. We'll go into a little bit of our soft lilac. I'll dry that off on my brush a bit, and this is going to be our highlights. Okay, then we're going to go into our Festive green, dirty brush. And we're going to jazz this dude up just a little bit. Give his head and his body here just a little bit with that Festive green. His tail. Okay, and then what we'll do next is we'll take our lamp black and we'll shade his hat. And let's see, we'll highlight there. We're going to take our, okay, we've got our wattle in our beard, or whatever this thing is, based with Heritage Brick. Then we're going to take some Heritage Brick in our brush plus some Coral Blush, flick on the paper towel, and then we'll go ahead and highlight. Okay, and when that dries, we'll give it a wash of cherry red. Okay, we're going to highlight his beak with Marigold, and it was based in Honey Brown. Okay, I think we'll base his hat band in Honey Brown. Nope, that's got to be his buckle color. Might reserve judgment. Ooh, too much water in my brush. I reserve judgment on the hat band and use it as a color carrier. To redo that one. And then we'll take our really fine Raphael into bleach sand. Give him just a little bit of a look. And final highlight on the beak with a little bit of bleach sand. And now let's wash that wattle, kind of float wash cherry red. And that'll get rid of that milkiness. Okay, we could take a little bit of cherry red over onto his head, to his arms. I think we're going to need to bring these guys into the brown family. So we'll go into Asphaltum. Let's cover those up. Chocolate, your Honey Brown, I think he needs a 1/3 little, and a little bit of Marigold. We're going to take a little bit of bleach sand and our graphite, mix together, 1 and 1, dry off our brush on our paper towel, and we'll get a little highlight action going on his hat. And then just with a little bleach sand. We're going to address the greenery, and they're going to be the same on both sides. So we're going to go first into Evergreen, load that brush, same way as we showed you before. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go up from the bottom of our leaves, and we'll run that edge right on the edge, and do the rest of it kind of streaky. Reload as you need to. And flick on your paper towel as you need to. Okay, and then on these little dudes here, I'll figure this out eventually. I'm going to bring it from the top, and I am going to need to load my brush a little bit juicier and end where these little things flip out, end on those, like slide the brush into them. Okay, it's just going to give us a nice base. Slide on in. Okay. Same thing back here. Just fill it in. Okay. Now we'll go next, and I think what I'll do is I'll wait for this to dry and I'll do my other side. Then we're going to go dirty brush into Hauser medium green. Flick on our paper towel. And now we're going to establish the highlights. I'll begin establishing the highlights. So don't take it all the way over. Make sure your dirty brush, and I'm going to flip it this way so that I can pull it down along that edge. And then I've got a little fold there. So I'm going to be able to pull it down along there as well to give it that detail. Okay. Pulling it out. Okay, then we'll repeat. I'll just go ahead and finish this sequence with Hauser light green. That green all the way up to the top. And then this color just can kind of show the high points. And finally, green tea. And I'm not liking how warm green tea looks, so we are going to go into olive green. Look on a paper towel. Yeah, give it a little bit of olive. Okay, and we'll repeat the other side. Alright, we're going to do our ears of corn. I'm going to start with milk chocolate. Stuck in our paper towel. And we'll just give that an all over scrumble. Staying out of the way of the leaf. Wipe our brush out, and I need to probably go into something teeny, teensy weensy weensy. So number 2, dry brush. Okay, and now we'll establish some rows of corn. Wipe our brush and pick up marigold. I'll go up the center of the corn for the highlight. Establish a little bit of roundness. And then we'll wipe our brush, pick up marigold, and then let's go ahead and scumble down the middle. Okay, and we'll use our curved flat and go into russet, and we'll shade that puppy down. Okay, and there's our corn. And we can give a little smackerel of yellow over in our ears of corn, the marigold color. And a little bit on our leaf as well. Alright, we're going to do our little grape bunches. Admiral blue is first. Let's tuck that in there. Anywhere where there's just too much black showing, just go ahead and tuck in a little bit of the blue, tickle it in there, and now we'll pick up, yes, it's the color grape juice. And then we'll pick up the soft lilac. I think it's soft lilac. Yeah, soft lilac. Dirty brush is real important here so it doesn't look too chalky. And we'll wait until that dries and we'll give it one more little highlight. Okay, we're going to add a little squiggly thingy bobber with the same color sequence. I think that'll do. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so I need to get rid of my lines, and we've got a brand new little eraser dude. This is a flat or a rectangle shaped micro eraser that you can just expel like that, and you've got refills and stuff like that. What I love about it is the little sharp corners. So I can go in, take out any lines that are left with excellent precision. And I can do wide stuff as well. Helps if you pump some of that eraser out of there. Okay, we're going to base the lettering with grape juice. I'm going to cut a piece of sticky mesh off of my roll, and then we're going to apply some accents. I think we'll do a little bit, and that just sticks right on there. Do a little bit of desert turquoise. Take a little beak. Okay, that adds just a little bit of interest without being too distracting. I like it, generally speaking, on the diagonal. Don't like it straight up and down. Words to be empty. Okay, while I have this brush dirty with the desert turquoise, I think I'm going to give Mr. Turkey's belly just a little bit of lightening. Give him a little bit more roundness. And now let's work on the letters. Alright, let's see if we can shove things over. Let's go ahead and give our desert turquoise highlight through the middle. And then let's mix it with a little bit of, mix mix it with a little bit of our soft lilac and repeat. You can kind of fix the tops of those letters so that they are the shapes, because they're a real pretty shape. Reload when you start getting draggy. Okay, now we'll come up from the bottom with Dioxazine purple. And we'll do a little float. Actually, we can go ahead and give the grapes a little bit of that Dioxazine as well. And just a little bit more shazowy. And we'll get some gold. Okay, so we've got some gold metal powder, and we're going to use some clear glass stain, and we'll mix them together, and then we'll line with that. I always love to watch it when you first add the glass stain, because it looks like gold colored mercury. Just instantly becomes alive. You can mix as much of the medium as you want in there, and that means that it can base coat in one base coat. Okay, get these guys put away. And let's go ahead and thin with a little bit of water for flow. And let's give our letters a kind of a drop shadow. All the left sides and under. Oops, hello E. Okay, we need to make a little band on our piece, so I'm going to use this compass. And that will make a nice even band all the way around. Oops. And I think we're going to use some tape. Okay, we've got this nice green stretchy tape that will make a perfectly taped line so I don't have to be all steady hands. And you just can bend and tape to a curve. Okay, and I'll repeat on all the other lines. Okay, and then we can take the compass and we can stretch it open and get that top line. Okay, we're going to take a really tiny little square brush and we are going to use Indian turquoise and give ourselves just a little bit of a check. Flip your brush over from time to time and that will keep everything moving. Alright, I'm going to try and rescue my poor turkey. I'm not quite sure what's going on with him, but I'm not in love with him yet. I think he needs a little bit more detail. So what we're going to do, and I think they better go this way, okay. So we're going to create a little bit stronger feather rose. Give them just that little bit more texture. And let's go into purple and dirty brush and into soft lilac dirty brush with the grape juice. And let's brighten him up. Ooh, a little too not so dirty brush. Brighten up his wing feathers. And into, oops. Okay, that would give him a little bit of highlight on his hat with the desert turquoise. I think we can go warm brighter on the corn, so let's get out bright yellow. Maybe we need to go a little bit of bleach sand with our marigold instead. Okay, we can bring in a little bit of a strong highlight here. And we can rub a little bit of the Festive green on his chest. Maybe on his wing a bit. And a little bit more highlight with bleach sand and Indian turquoise on our letters.